Hey, what's up everybody? Cam of Cam and Focus here, and I'm recording this from my car. Obviously, I'm parked in a parking lot because I want to be able to get this out while all this stuff is still fresh in my mind. I just got out of seeing Project Hail Mary, and I thought it was great. As an avid fan of the book, the audiobook specifically, I've probably listened to it all the way through probably 3 or 4 times. I thought they did a really good job. Ryan Gosling was fantastic as the character. He portrays the everyman pretty well. Typically, I mean, he's kind of just that actor that you can kind of expect that from. And the rest of, the very limited cast was excellent as well. I thought that Rocky's portrayal was very effective, very true to the books. As an adaptation, I feel like there were a lot of things that were skipped over or maybe came through in a montage or were just kind of made to feel not quite as narratively important as it was in the book. Like, for example, the first 20 minutes of the movie covers about the first 5 hours of the audiobook. So there's definitely a lot that's glossed through. There are a lot of story elements that are switched around, things that are blatantly changed. Certain characters are also changed from the books as well. There are certain character interactions and directions that interactions go that are definitely not true to the books at all, but, books, didn't mean to make that plural, but definitely very different as an adaptation. It's, definitely not one-to-one. But obviously with an adaptation, there are certain things you have to change. There are certain elements that you have to adapt to the visual medium, because obviously film and books are very different ways to consume a story. And overall, I thought it was great. The pacing was consistently forward moving. The score was grand. I loved it so much. Very operatic, lots of choir elements, as you'd expect a movie called Project Hail Mary to have. And even the quieter character moments are given a large swelling of the score, which really carries these quieter moments very, very nicely. It made things feel a lot more emotional overall. The cinematography was fantastic. Greg Fraser's cinematography is always on point. It's a very, very good looking movie. The imagery is so evocative, and the way that the way that the visual elements of the film overall are used is just so thrilling. So great. What I think didn't quite work was, like I said, with adapting a book to a movie, there are elements that you have to change and elements that you have to kind of pull back on when it comes to explaining them. And there were certain scenes where, as somebody who read the book, I knew what was happening, but what was happening on screen didn't quite come across quite as vividly as I feel like it could have been. Like, for example, there's a scene where there's a scene in the book where the ship's spinning out of control and the gravity from that spin is crushing the main character against a terminal. And sorry about that, I got a phone call and I lost my train of thought. Getting crushed against the thing. You saw it happening on screen, but what exactly was happening didn't quite translate over, which isn't a huge deal. I feel like most audiences will watch it and kind of get the gist of what's happening. And again, there are certain storytelling elements, certain scenes entirely that just don't happen, or are, like I said, come through in a montage, which is fine. As its own, thing, this is a very, it's a great adaptation. I think it was fantastic. Like I said, little tidbits here and there that maybe didn't quite work for me, but that's just because I'm such an avid fan of the book. I went into it with high expectations, knowing the people that were involved, the filmmakers that were involved in the production. Everything just came together so wonderfully, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy with how this movie turned out. Definitely see this one in theaters on the biggest screen possible. IMAX is probably the best way to watch it. I didn't get to watch it on IMAX. I watched it in Dolby Atmos, whatever they want to call it, and it was great. But there were certain sequences that came by where I'm just like, oh damn, I wish I could have seen this on IMAX. Imagine how epic this would have been. But it didn't take away from the experience at all. I had a great time with this movie. Definitely check it out. As an adaptation, I think it's great. Project Hail Mary, I was very excited for it, you know, from the moment it was announced that it was going to be adapted into film, and I left the theater very satisfied. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out in theaters. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.